You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Hello and welcome to another episode of My Wheelhouse, quirky sports show discussing basketball topics of the past, present, and future. I'm your host, Sheamus. Once again, we are joined by my Uncle Mike. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
That's really good news. And for the first time, my good friend Ben is here to join us. Ben, how you feeling?
Welcome to the Wheelhouse, Ben.
Welcome to the
Thanks so
Wheelhouse.
much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
I'm sure you'll be back several other episodes in the future.
I look forward to it.
Before we get to the wheel, do you have some kind of something you want to bring out? Maybe something that feels good?
I really haven't done a chump of the week or a chump of and I just had so many on my mind. I mean, you got drinks like a fisher.
Yep.
These are New York Post headlines.
Yes.
DUI of the Tiger.
Right.
Stony the Tiger.
These are all things.
These are New York Post. But the one I would throw under the bus is Scal.
Scal? Really? Why? No, I'm out immediately. Whatever you're about to say, I'm out immediately.
Did you watch the Big Three this week?
Yeah. Okay. So
Scal leads the league in F-bombs.
That's awesome.
He gave 5 F-bombs.
He gave
5. I don't consider that good.
So
he also has more F-bombs than points.
So what? He's not good
at
anymore.
To me, that's a chump.
I love him. I think he's great. I don't think he's a chump. I
It's
disagree with you
worldwide
100%.
wrestling now. It's really taking a step in that direction. I mean,
It's okay. It's entertainment.
Okay.
Mike's chump of the week is Scal for some crazy reason. Let's get to the wheel. Ben,
but the F-bombs.
spin it good. Got a lot of Celtics on the wheel today. Okay, starting off, we're going to discuss Ante Zizic, the 6'11", 265 big man coming over. He was really expecting to, we were really projecting him to be able to fill the needs that we have with rebounding and rim protecting, but I don't know if I've really seen that so far in the 2 Summer League games. What have you seen?
Yeah, I've been very underwhelmed. I was looking forward to Zizic coming over. He said he looked to bring rebounding and toughness to the team. I don't know if he's really brought either of those 2 games in the Summer League. Maybe a little bit of toughness, but he just, with the ball, he's kind of weak. He doesn't seem sure of himself.
Very indecisive.
I'm much higher on him than that. But I understand. I think he's ready for Zeller's minutes and not Amir Johnson's minutes.
Okay.
So that hole is not being plugged by Zizic right away. But at 19 years old or 20 years old, he's got no body fat at all when he goes 265.
Yep.
I can imagine in 2 years how big this guy is going to be. He's all over the offensive boards.
Yes.
Now, that's something that we can really use, even if it's coming off the bench. He's a year or 2 away.
Agree.
And I'm thinking, what are you thinking?
I think I'm higher than both of you on him, actually.
Okay.
I've been impressed overall, so I was expecting him to be not that great. And coming in defensively in the low post, he is not nearly as good of a rim protector that I was hoping. But as a person who watched a lot of his highlights when he was playing in Europe, I really wasn't projecting him to be as good of a rim protector as other people had hoped. I do think that he has shown a lot of glimpses of being a very strong rebounder, as you said, specifically on the offensive end. But he's really, really big. He gets to the spot very easily where he thinks the ball is going to be. And once he learns timing a little bit better, he will be able to use his strength because he clearly is strong. It's just that he isn't really sure how to use it.
He runs well?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The thing I'm most impressive with his ability to be a rim running big. He goes side to side, transition play. He catches and passes the ball off to the right man very quickly. And the most impressive thing is his pick and roll play. He sets very purposeful screens on the top of the key. He's played very well specifically with Jaylen Brown and with Abdul Nader, who I'm not really big on. But his pick and roll play with the 2 of them has been very surprising to me, and I like his finishes.
Pick, I don't like the roll.
Well, he usually kind of fades off a little bit too far because when the pick and rolls that I've seen are when a play fails where we have Tatum or another player in the low post trying to feed it to him, and then we swing it reverse and try to run a pick and roll, weak side pick and roll with him. So he's kind of awkward about the spacing, and that's something that he'll learn. So I've been much more impressed than I think everyone else has. I mean, his stats haven't really shown that well, but I think on the floor he's shown the glimpses that I want to see, other than the rim protection. Next up. Ooh, okay, Markelle Fultz. All right, so we saw Fultz against the Celtics on Monday night, I believe. It was his debut. He played well. He had 16 points. He took a lot of bad shots, but that's something you would expect from a scoring point guard, drafted number 1 overall. He was much more impressive. I don't know if you guys saw his second game against the Spurs. They played last night. He started off really cold, and I was nervous. Something that I was mainly nervous about him was when he played more athletic and stronger defenders. So he was matched up against Exum last night, who's already a very reputable defender in the league, and he was really struggling with his size and his length in the first half. But then he started to get his rhythm, and he was able to come off screens and be able to use his intelligence as a scorer more than kind of just his ability, and it really shone through. I don't know, what have you seen through him?
From Fultz, I didn't see him play against the Jazz. I didn't see him play against the Celtics. He takes summer league for what it's worth. I think Fultz, just the way he moves with the ball, you can tell he's going to be good. Everything he does just looks easy. It's smooth. Lulls you to sleep with the crossover dribble. Next thing you know, he's by in at the rim. The first move he made against the Celtics, the up and under.
Oh, yeah.
From what, the elbow?
It took him like 2 seconds to do a very complex
he just
move.
got a full arsenal. Like he's been in the league for 5-6 years.
I like
on
him a
offense.
lot.
And he showed that at Washington.
I like him much more than I thought I would like him. I haven't really, you watch highlights. I hadn't seen too many highlights. He stuck out in Washington. You're not really sure the team was a losing team and everything. He's definitely a shoot-first point guard. Mm-hmm. Whoa, he's a shoot-first point guard.
That's okay, though.
That's okay, I can bring that. But I think he brings a lot. He's really a confident offensive player. He's got a nice shot. I mean, he spins well. And
that's his best move. His spin move is phenomenal.
His spin move is incredible.
It's going to work. I mean, the guy's got plenty to offer. But I would say I'm happy with Tatum.
I agree with that. But the one thing about Fultz is I think that his deficiencies as a point guard will be just forgotten about because he's going to be playing around Simmons. So I think his inability to be able to be end of the floor, ball handler, be able to be a complete distributor, that's something that he isn't really comfortable with yet, and you can tell. And the shoot first kind of mentality works much better as an off-ball guard, even though you can still say he's the point guard on the team.
It also works much better with Philly.
Right, exactly.
You can say Isaiah plays better off the ball sometimes.
Yeah, he does, yeah. But I like his ability to be a playmaker, similar to the way Marcus Smart plays with us, with just short stints as a passer off 1 or 2 dribbles. He should have like 10 assists in both these games, except the Phillies team is awful. Besides TLC, Luau Cabarro, no one else on that team even has a shot of making a roster.
One of the things that's really hard to judge, and I consider myself a layman, it's the coaching fraternity that knows what's going on, is how well these guys play defense. I can't really tell for sure. And I can't tell on Zizic, and I can't tell on Fultz. So you seem to have a better eye for that than me, but I refuse to judge a guy completely until I find out. I mean, Jaylen Brown can play defense.
Right.
We found that out.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't found that out about Zizic or Fultz.
Fultz seems like weak side defender. He's going to be very strong because of his athletic bursts and his ability to get up in space. So he's we saw a couple of his blocks. He had like 3 or 4 blocks against us. He had a couple more blocks against the Jazz.
Can you stay in front?
He can't stay in front. Mm-hmm. He has quick feet, and if someone's just dribbling around the perimeter, and he has long arms, but when someone tries to dribble penetrate and uses their shoulder into him, he kind of backs down a little bit, and he tries to use verticality with keeping his arms up and not reaching in, which is good, but teams just blow by him. I just don't think he's really smart enough on the defensive end yet, and he gets really bodied around. Like Nader was destroying him, which is just embarrassing because I don't think he's that great.
Who do we compare him to?
Fultz?
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Stephon Marbury. I think he's very similar to him, the herky-jerky kind of like Jimbo style up and down with his dribble. Like you go slow and then all of a sudden he's at the rim already. Ability to create his own shot. And I also can compare his defensive side. I don't think Marbury was that impressive, and I think that they're very similar on both ends.
He's bigger.
He is, yes.
He's not as much of a distributor as Marbury.
I think he is. So I think you're going to be very surprised in his ability to pass. I really think that he's going to come out, and I think he's a player that can average 8 assists a game in the league.
I'll go Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
Not that level, but that's what I see with him, is that somebody that's always got his head up, always ready to shoot.
Right.
Always ready to shoot.
He's attacking constantly.
One thing they did, my last point, one thing they brought up, they said it's hard to tell with Fultz how good of a passer he is because he wants to make the highlight pass. They say they want to see him make the normal pass, the right pass.
Yeah.
But to me, I see Lillard.
Okay, I agree with that.
Okay, that's a good one too.
Yep, I agree with that. Rocking the wheel. All right, so you guys just said Summer League, so I just put this on there. I just really wanted to, because obviously we have other players that are participating in the Summer League. I just wanted each of us to discuss maybe a player that surprised us, someone that we've really been able to really caught our eye in games, whether it's been against the Celtics or someone else that we saw. Has anyone really shocked you or surprised you yet?
Catching my eye, it's got to be Forbes. Not that I think he's going to be a good NBA player, but that guy last night looked like Steph Curry coming off picks, coming off screens around, and just firing him up. Everything he put up was going in last night.
It's so funny, though, because in the playoffs, he actually got a surprising amount of playing time, especially after Tony Parker left. He was awful. He was like terrible in the playoffs. He couldn't hit the side of the backboard, so I was shocked to see him play that well in the game last night.
I really like Henry Ellison.
Yes,
and what I'm seeing with him, boy, he looks like he's big enough. He looks like he shoots big enough. He looks like he's quick enough. Looks like he's got the motor. I think he's ready to burst onto the scene. I like him a lot. My sleeper.
Yep.
London Parentes.
Nah, get the heck out of here.
I'm sorry.
No, he's awful.
I'm sorry.
You're so in love with Virginia players. You're so in love with
awful.
Yeah, because he is. He's bad.
Okay. Who's the best backup point guard in the NBA?
Who's the best backup point guard?
Backup point guard in the NBA. You're looking at him right here.
It's Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart is not.
Lou Williams.
Marcus Smart would be a much better starter than a backup, but he's not a good backup.
I disagree.
He's okay backup.
I think.
And London Parentes, he's done. I don't even know if he was drafted. I'm just saying.
No, he was not drafted. He wasn't drafted.
And I want. He can do things, and he could be a backup point guard and a good one, and he's on the right team. Spoelstra will see it.
Yeah, well, if any team is going to succeed with a player like that, it will be them. I was impressed with
Tremendous track record coming out of the University of Virginia.
Yeah, you love Virginia.
Yeah.
I watch him all the time. I think Tony Bennett is the best coach in the country. They're ready to defend. They can defend right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Ellenson. I was actually impressed with his high post play. He was doing lots of fadeaways, lots of one-legged, like some Dirk comps and stuff.
And bang!
His
from 18 feet or 17 feet.
His two-man play with Luke Kennard was very impressive. I was impressed with the two of them. So they worked off of each other very well, and they were able to use their intelligence. You could tell they're both very smart. I was very impressed with the combination of Exum and Donovan Mitchell in both of their games. These two guys are going to be a dynamite backcourt in the NBA. I think they're going to be a very, very strong starting 1 and 2. Donovan Mitchell was a 1 at Louisville, but I think he's going to project more as a 2. Okay. Now that they got rid of George Hill, now that they're going to have more time on the Jazz for some experimentation with guard play and with forwards and who's going to get minutes, I think we're going to see a lot of time with these two players on the court at the same time. They're both elite defenders. They've both shown a lot of promises, outside shooters. The only thing that they're not that great at yet is passing the ball and finding teammates, and they have the perfect member of their team now in Ricky Rubio to be able to help them learn that skill.
I would not call Ricky Rubio a perfect thing for. I'm sorry. Utah is really going on a limb on
that hurt him. That was just an awful. I mean, obviously they tried to do it to keep Hayward, but that's just going to kill that.
Okay, but like
it's so much leaving.
So think about you have strengths in almost every single category as a guard except passing, and you bring over one of the best passing guards in the league. You're going to be able to learn a lot from that player, right?
Too much French pastry.
Yeah, I agree. But I was these guys are averaging, I think they're averaging like 45 points a game combined together, and they've been very impressive.
The other guy I would throw out there is on the Celtics roster is that Yabusele. I don't even know.
Yabu.
Yeah, the guy that went from Duke to somebody else. He looks like he's got a hell of a body. And it looks like he's
Semi Ojeleye. Yeah. He's a refrigerator.
How tall is he? How big?
6'6".
He's got some potential.
I like him. He's beefy. I like him.
I think him and Gershon Yabusele will be in the cafeteria together. They look like they're probably on similar diets.
All right, Gordon Hayward, the newest Celtic.
I'm glad we didn't start the show with that. We might not have ended it with anything else.
I mean, we got some time. I obviously Gordon Hayward, pretty big fiasco with the announcement. To be honest, I was in my car, literally just refreshing Twitter like this, just constantly, just hoping there was going to be a Wojnarowski tweet or something like that. Finally, Chris Haynes came out that he got signed. About 25 minutes later, his camp saying that he didn't sign. My kind of thought on it is that Gordon Hayward probably, so usually what players do is they release information to press and they put an embargo on it. So you say, hey, you can't give this out and you can't release it out until 2 p.m. or whatever have you. And I don't think they gave themselves enough time to be able to properly tell and accommodate the Jazz community. So I think they freaked out once it came out when they told them to release the information, and then they had to go back on it. But obviously it was right, and we have them now.
Gordon had needed time to compose that essay.
Did you read the essay?
Of course.
It's good. I think he did a good job thanking the Jazz community, thanking the players, thanking the coach there, and then
still got his shirt burnt.
Yeah, of course he did. Every
ain't gonna win it.
I think that's so silly.
Yeah, there's gonna be a cool jersey in 10, 15
years. You hear those people, they're so sweet as they're doing it. You know, it's not like
it's so short-sighted.
Saddam Hussein. You know, it's
like imagine I have a Rondo Celtics jersey. Imagine if I just burned his jersey when he left. That's gonna be an awesome jersey in 20 years.
I like it when they say there's no more on point guards on the market, and you got Rondo out there. They don't even consider him anybody.
And Derrick Rose.
Right. So how are we thinking the Celtics project with Gordon? Is he going to play most of his minutes at the 2 if we move? Because we are going. They have said we're shopping Jay, we're shopping Avery, and we're shopping Marcus Smart. How are we feeling it's going to shake out with the team and his role in the team now?
I think Gordon Hayward is potentially Larry Bird. We got potentially what happening here. Red Auerbach and Bill Russell, Tommy Heinsohn and Dave Cowens. Mm-hmm. Larry Bird and Casey Jones.
Yeah, all great.
Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Right.
I really see this because I don't see, when they say he sees Stevens as a father figure, he goes and picks him up at the airport. That's pretty cool. It's like you're picking your big brother up from the airport. So Stevens is picking him up from the airport.
Yep.
But it's more than that.
Yep.
It's pure basketball. And these guys, they've got it. And Stevens has got it as a coach. And Hayward knows that better than anybody. This becomes the combination. This becomes your leader. It's not Horford. It's certainly not Isaiah Thomas, as much as I love Isaiah Thomas. Now you've got it. You finally got Stevens with his guy.
Yeah.
I'm just all over it. I don't care if they trade the whole team other than Isaiah and Horford and build from there because I think they've turned the page. And I don't know whether they're going to compete with Cleveland or Golden State, but I say bring Golden State on. And I'm not willing to take a back seat to them yet. When we played them a couple times last year, we played okay. We beat them the year before, broke that winning streak. Let us play them a 7-game series before you say we're going to get beat 4 in a row.
Well, in the past 2 years, we've only lost 2 games. I think we've played them 5 times in the past 2 years, and we're 3-2 in those games. All 3 of those wins coming at Golden State's home.
And ended that was a long winning streak. That was a major win. So that's
How do you
enough
feel
for
about
me.
Gordon?
The thing about Gordon Hayward that is, I think, so unique, he could play alongside Russell Westbrook well because he just doesn't need the ball in his hands, which is so rare, and I think it's so beneficial for the Celtics because Isaiah Thomas, how many possessions do we see where he dribbles around, gets double-teamed, doesn't know where to go? Now he has a guy that can just score in multiple ways on offense.
Quick stints. Yeah.
And he doesn't need the ball. And I think that's great because Brad Stevens' offense, without Isaiah in the lineup too, is to move the ball around. And he can do that. He doesn't need to isolate and just take time for himself. So he can score off a pass without holding the ball for less than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Who's the loser in this?
Who's the loser besides the Jazz? I mean, the biggest loser is Jay Crowder. Like, he's gone.
No.
Who's the biggest loser?
Avery Bradley.
Yeah.
Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley has earned his spot.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, when you see J.J. Redick getting $23 million, you know Avery Bradley is in serious trouble being let go. He's so with that team. He's so integral in that team. He's a defender that he's everything you would want in a Celtic.
I really don't think that he is the biggest loser because I think we maintain.
He's gone.
I don't think he is gone. I think it's.
They're not paying him and Isaiah next year.
Okay, so maybe he's gone next year. But I think we're much
talking about this year, next year.
We're much more likely immediately to trade Jay Crowder and Marcus Smart, and I think
even with Crowder's contract, doesn't that seem funny that you trade a guy that's making $7 and $8 million?
Yeah, because
hold on to a guy that you're going to have to pay $25
because of the players that we have that need minutes, and because the fact that he does have this really promising and really really good contract in today's NBA, he has so much more value for everyone else and so much less value for us that it makes so much sense to get rid of him.
And he's 26.
Yeah. So
the other thing that I really, really like a lot about Gordon is he redefines the point position on the Celtics. You no longer need Isaiah to do everything he does. If you turn the clock back to where it came from, and I have a vision of this, and I'm not sure it'll happen at all, but I see Marcus Smart as the starting point guard and Isaiah Thomas becoming the sixth man again. Isaiah Thomas, will he do it for the team? He could score 20 a game off the bench easily. He's already demonstrated. What Smart does better is he facilitates the offense. When he comes up, that entry pass is right on time with that coming. Isaiah doesn't do that. The ball sticks. I know last week you asked something about Paul and how Harden are going to work. I don't know. A guy that's going to have the ball in his hands for 15 seconds is going to change the way he does things. So Gordon Hayward redefines how the Celtics are going to play.
I think I agree with you that specific lineup where maybe he's not spending as much time on the court while Gordon's on the court is going to take up a big chunk of our time through the 48 minutes. I think Marcus is going to, if we don't move him, obviously, Marcus is going to spend a lot of time at the one while Gordon's on there. And I do think that when both Gordon and Isaiah are on the floor, that Marcus will be the primary ball handler, bringing up the ball, and both will be playing off multiple screens.
Because we can live with Marcus not shooting as well now.
It's okay.
Not blatant.
So that's what I was about to say, that I don't think that Avery Bradley is going to suffer that much because he just had to develop this offensive game because we didn't have a secondary offensive producer on our team, and we just needed Avery Bradley to be that player. So he was just like, okay, I can become a shooter for this team.
His skills. He came into that league without the ability to take anybody off the dribble. He didn't have
he's improved his skills.
What's he improved on this year? I mean, he's actually going to be a better player next year than he is this year. He's only 26.
Yeah, so why not just keep him as the best perimeter defender in the league right now?
I don't think we can afford him.
Yeah, well, we can. fan. You know what I mean? I would rather have Avery Bradley on the team next year on a less deal and try to move Isaiah for assets.
I think Isaiah's the window. I think it's a 2-year window, and Isaiah's part of the championship, and I think he deserves it. What he's brought to this team in terms of heart and soul, I want them to win a championship with Isaiah at the point. And I understand what you're saying, and as I'm saying, Marcus Smart, the other thing to talk about here is who's the big? Who's coming?
Yeah.
Zella's gone. Olenik's gone.
Obviously, we wanted Zizic to be that player, but obviously he's not. Not yet, at least.
No, he's not.
I think we should talk about that after. Let's do one more spin, and then we'll discuss something else.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we say biggest loser, I agree with you, and I feel bad that Avery Bradley's even has to listen to his name being thrown around in trade rumors. I don't feel bad for Crowder with that, really. I feel bad for Bradley because he's been a Celtic. I would say he's the biggest loser if he's forced out of town. But if he stays in town, I think he could be the greatest beneficiary.
Hope so.
With Gordon Hayward and Isaiah Thomas, Al Horford, he should be getting open looks all day.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right, let's move on. Hopefully we talk about. Oh, tough spin.
Gordon again?
No.
We're gonna move on from Gordon.
All right, I think that's on Jaylen. All right, so Jaylen Brown through 2 summer.
Jaylen, Jason, it's
very similar. So I was saying, what I was saying to Ben is I want to create a little jersey or a jersey that says the number 7-11, and on the back it just says J instead of Jaylen or Jason. But anyway, Jaylen Brown really showed out in his first game against Philly. He was dominating. It was so obvious that he shouldn't even be in the Summer League game of how just dominant he has. You can tell he's really worked on his game. He's got a lot stronger. He's got a lot faster. His shot's gotten a lot quicker and more consistent, much smoother. Something he still needs to improve on. Me and Ben talked about this a little bit, but you have seen improvements. It's something he needs to be able to handle in traffic. He tries. He has these moves where he can spin, and he kind of does.
The spin is so improved.
It's so much better.
Whoa.
Yeah, but
spin with a finish now.
But you can tell that he tries to weave through defenders, and if he tries to do that with just his handle without using his body as a shield, he kind of struggles, and that's where he loses it. But overall, I've been in love with him.
I get a butt.
I think he's my favorite player in the NBA.
The butt is how he played the second game.
I thought he played good.
I didn't think he played well the second game. I thought he did exactly what you said he did, is he starts to get very consumed with making the play. Instead of reading the defense and taking what the defense gives him, he forces his talent and ability on the defense, and he's getting better and better. And
he's incredible.
He can defend, he gets up, he runs. I can't remember, maybe LeBron, and I'm not comparing him, but the maturity of this 19-year-old. Remember during the season, they had an opportunity with something, whether it was for the wounded veterans, and a Celtic had to step out and speak. It was Jaylen Brown that they had stepped the middle court.
He's not 19 years old. No. He is. I mean, he's a really intelligent kid.
Oh, yeah.
So we got that happening with him.
What was he, the captain of the chess club at Cal or something like that? He was.
He took graduate level classes as a freshman at Cal.
Yeah, he's like a genius. He's really smart.
There's nothing not to like about him. I mean, he's the coolest.
I love him. Legitimately, he's one of my favorite players in the league, and he really came into his own as a leader. They interviewed him with some of the other players in the Summer League before the first game, and he was saying, I want to be a leader on this team, and I understand that there's players.
Pay your dues.
I understand that there's players on the team during the regular season that I'm not going to be able to really take that role, but here is the perfect scenario for me to be able to share what I know and what I've learned, and to be able to really become a better human being at the same time.
And then one of the things I think about is the traditional 6-man role that the Celtics originated with Red Auerbach, and how through the years it's played where they've had Kevin McHale and Frank Ramsey, other great Paul Silas.
Yep.
I would like to see that direction. I mean, we've seen Iguodala do it. I'd like to see the Celtics plug into a 6-man in their traditional, the one they invented.
Yep.
And could Jaylen Brown be that guy? I'm not sure. He seems to play much better as a starter.
Yeah, I think
rather than where
he needs to get his rhythm. That's why I like him off the bench.
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's Isaiah.
That's why I like Isaiah. Yeah,
that's his role this year, Jaylen.
I know. Yeah, they just got in too deep with Isaiah because he is the ideal 6-man.
Right.
But he just got too good too quick.
He doesn't like anything being taken away from him at all.
Yeah.
And that would be a tough one for him to live with. But if Jaylen could do that, that would be pretty magical. If he could come off the bench with his motor running. And
I'm thinking about our end goal of being in the finals and competing with this Warriors team that will probably still be there in 3 years. I'm thinking in 3 years, Jaylen Brown is the perfect answer for Kevin Durant. Obviously, that's a lot to say right now.
They don't mind Tatum.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
LeBron.
His length and his mindset and his just athletic ability on the defensive end of the court will be able to neutralize Durant to the degree that we need to 3 years from now, for the other players to flourish in a game, for us to be able to win. I love him. I think
one of the things we're learning is 3 years from now is light years in the NBA.
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh my God! You can't tell us. Look what we were here a week ago.
Yeah.
Look what's happened in a week.
Right. Yeah.
We should have Anthony Davis by then, right?
Yes.
Hopefully.
All right. It's possible.
Let's just force the wheel to Jason Tatum. Oh, Jason Tatum. All right, so
we were on the fringe of both of them.
Yeah, I agree. It could have been both. All right, so Jason Tatum has debatably been the best player in the summer league so far. He's dropped over 20 points, 21 and 23 in both games. It was funny, they were interviewing his mom at the most recent game, and she has every ticket from every single game he's been to since like 9th grade or something obscene like that. And she just had him on.
And she looks like she's about 30.
Yeah, she does. But it was crazy. She was like, oh, he's not getting enough rebounds. So he dropped a double-double last night. He can score in any way you want. You choose a way. Runners, floaters, turnarounds, dunking the ball, three-point range, off the catch, off the dribble, everything. He has it. He just seems like a complete player. It seems like Danny Ainge just made the absolute right decision. How happy are you?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that Danny Ainge is starting to, everybody's seeing what he's like.
He's a genius.
He's really good. I mean, you understand it. It's not guaranteed that any of this stuff is going to happen, but he saw Tatum.
Right.
And I think that's to his credit. You weren't way up on Tatum.
No, I was actually pretty low.
Yeah.
So in my defense,
a lot of Josh Jackson's over.
I had a mock draft and I projected Josh Jackson over him. But something that I've seen just in watching players, it's really interesting, especially from the last game that they play in college to the first game that they play in the summer league. Players that improve, and you can tell a clear improvement, like that tells you a lot about the players. And like Markelle Fultz, I didn't see a huge improvement. Obviously, he's very impressive. But I saw the biggest improvement by far by Tatum. He's much stronger. He's impressed me on the defensive end, which was considered his biggest weakness. He's been really just a phenomenal transition player. He's been a good passer, which was another one of his weaknesses.
I see him.
All around.
I'll give you a Bill Belichick. I love it because it's like talent sets the floor, character sets the ceiling.
He has both.
And I see that in the players that they're bringing in here, whether it's Fultz or Jason. I didn't see it in Josh Jackson. And I agree with that. And I don't necessarily see it in Fultz. No. These guys come ready to play with character.
Right.
I'll go with Belichick.
They seem willing to sacrifice for the team.
Yeah, I just think Danny Ainge does I trust what Danny Ainge does. When Danny Ainge said we have our guy at 3, and people started to think, if you're going to be so sure, it can't be Jackson.
Right.
Because people thought that the Lakers might reach on Jackson at 2. So I knew it was Tatum at that point. I kind of was hoping it was Jackson because I wasn't big on Tatum either. And now he's come in, and it's just, what are you going to say about it? I mean, it's incredible. He looks like he's going to be like a perennial all-star.
I think one of the things that continues to be interesting is if we didn't get Gordon Hayward, how is everybody talking about Danny Ainge?
Right. Yeah.
And now it happens. I mean, he's the same the day before he got Gordon Hayward as he is the day after. But in Celtics community out there, a lot of people doubting Danny Ainge, and now
he's done a great job. I think Tatum
continue to do the job. Get that big.
If Tatum's going to he won't get the minutes that he needs. But if he got enough minutes this year, he could be Rookie of the Year. But I don't think he will be. All right, so we only have a little bit of time left. I just want to discuss what you think about what was going to happen with the remainder of the offseason. You said who's going to be the big. I think that's someone we're going to target. Marc Gasol has come up in rumors. Originally, I said we should go after DeAndre Jordan because of the Clippers blowing it up. What do you see? Yeah, what do you see the rest of the offseason shaking out?
I think a big is coming. I mean, you heard Sean Grandy say it on the same night. He said, 2 of their rotational players are gone, and there's a big coming in. They built the hole is there. Crowder is not going to play the 4, so I like. And you guys kind of turned me on to him because I thought he was in his 30s, but he's only 27. I like Greg Monroe.
I've liked Greg
Monroe, and he's $17 million, and he's available. And they've got who's their center? The young guy that they
Thon Maker?
Yeah, no, there's somebody that they're going to go. They're going with Maker.
They don't need Greg Monroe.
I think Greg Monroe might be a good fit for them.
He's available. I agree.
The only thing with Greg Monroe, and I like Greg Monroe, I want us to trade for Greg Monroe last year. He's a free agent, right?
Right now, yes.
So the thing with Greg Monroe is I don't want him on a 3-4 year deal. I want him for 1 or 2 years. And I'm fine with giving him a big money for a year or 2.
Right.
But
that's the way it works.
I don't really want to get trapped. What if we have a chance to get Anthony Davis and we owe $35+ million over 2 years to Greg Monroe?
That's true.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll see how it shakes out. That's all the time we have here.
The wheelhouse again?
Yeah. Hey, it goes quick. The wheelhouse goes quick. Ben and Mike, thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm sure we'll be back soon. That's the end of my wheelhouse. Thank you very much, guys.